So today has been kind of like it's cloudy again today, and then it's also very heavy. So that makes sense when we're looking at like the moon phase. We are at about half moon, and about this time we are starting to be able to see shadows. And I know that's true because last night when I was sitting out, the moon was shining very brightly and casting shadows. And so we're at that point now where we're starting to see that which we are meant to feel and to transmute and heal this moon cycle. So the season that we are in is, of course, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also at the same exact level. The sun is literally right in between both Ophiuchus and Sagittarius, right center. Okay, so this is not just a season of philosophical expansion. This is also the season of the serpent bearer. Okay, so the serpent bearer is the one that understands its own shadow and brings it forth to the light as both sword, shield, and revelation. So revelation means the revealing of truth. Okay, so at this point in time, we're not just expanding philosophically, we are expanding with the understanding of our shadow itself. Okay, and today, I was sitting outside and I saw a vehicle go by, and it was an armada, and so I kept hearing, the armada is coming, the armada is coming, and and I was like, oh, we're going to think about Queen Elizabeth today. And so I called in the energy, and as I was shuffling my deck, my Priestess of Light Oracle, actually, the card on the bottom was the Divine Mother, and I felt the energy that the Divine Mother wants to speak to you today. So the Divine Mother is that nurturing energy. This is a difficult time. It really is. The darkest point of the year is right now. This is a very difficult time for a lot of people who have maybe recently lost somebody or are facing the loss of anything in their life. This is the season where it becomes so blatantly obvious of what we are lacking in our lives. This is exactly what is coming forward, coming up out of the surface. Okay, so Scorpio season is the sting in the earth body to dive into the depths and figure out what is it that's missing. And now it's all at the surface. It's right here. And so you have the ability right now to know, because of last month, what is it that's been at the very, very depth of your soul that is screaming to be understood, heard, and acknowledged. Heard, understood, and acknowledged. Okay, so this is why this is the perfect time of year for this to happen. It's absolutely, these two things coincide. It is literally a cycle of healing, an entire year of the cycle of healing. And right now we're at that point where we are crossing the void. We are wading through all of that darkness because we are in the season of darkness. We are in the season of feeling that darkness. The darkness isn't there to haunt you, to hurt you. It is there to enable you to appreciate that which is good in your life. So, we're going to start with the Priestess of Light Oracle, and then, of course, to my favorite deck that I have at this point, the Tarot of the Sacred Knowledge. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to pull 3 oracle cards, and we'll see what the energy feels as they pull out. Sometimes they like to be like a message for your polar opposites, and then the neutral zone between, like I was talking about yesterday. Yeah. And then sometimes they like to come out in a past, future, current, or past, current, future, and sometimes they just like to come out in a timeline of what's about to happen. I'll feel it as soon as I feel it. So, top 3. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the energy that we have right now. And this is perfect. So I was watching a video this morning from one of my favorite channelers, and he was speaking specifically about basically the shadow and how it can take over, but it has a very wonderful purpose to it. And one of those things was the focus, okay? And I've talked about this in the past. Instead of using that beautiful skill you've created all of these years of over analysis and over worrying, instead of using it to worry, using it to focus your energy. And that is exactly what came out the very first card. It's card number 17. 17 is a number that I've been seeing quite a bit lately. Reduces to 8. 8 is the number of infinity. 1 and 7 by themselves are also extremely amazing numbers. So the number 17, if you've been seeing it a lot lately, I've been seeing 717 a lot too. 77, 17, 1777. 17 is a very prominent number because it is an amplification of not only the divine blessings and the spiritual alignment, but it becomes into abundance. Not just abundance, but infinite abundance. Okay? So, and it's not just abundance, it's the infinite cycle of natural growth and expansion. Okay? So the first card that comes out is the Sacred Action card. I am drawn to the fact that, of course, it's a big cat. I love big cats. So the main energy that I'm feeling from this is that this is the perfect time, not necessarily to hyper focus on that which is lacking, but hyper focusing on the results of how you've been healing. So when we look at lack and we see that which we are missing in our lives, we focus on that energy, right? And it doesn't matter if you're sitting there and saying things like, I will not focus on this. You are still focusing on it. If I tell you don't think of a white elephant, you're going to immediately think of a white elephant. If you continue to tell yourself, I will not think about this, you are in that way thinking about it. Instead of trying to push away that thought, it is now time to analyze those thoughts. Thoughts are energy, and that energy is coming to you for a reason. If it is that voice in the back of your head, the one you call your ego, this is not a bad thing. This is what needs attention. I saw something else today too that clicked into my mind, and I was like, I don't know. It was there's 2 to 3 different like ways to look at this particular perspective. Okay, so and there were all 3 different perspectives that I've seen in the last 3 hours, all pertaining to this exact same thing. Is in a way embracing that shadow. Okay, one put it as, can you love your anxiety as much as you love the good things about you? Okay, I can accept this as long as we look at the fact that it's not the anxiety itself that we love, but what the anxiety allows for us to do. Think of the mother who may not even be able to pick up, like, I wanted to say credenza, but there's absolutely no reason to say credenza, so I'm going to say couch. Think of a mother who cannot pick up a couch, but in a moment of absolute emergency when her child is trapped, she has the ability to lift something twice as heavy as that couch. Okay? It's not, it's what the anxiety gives us. It's almost like a superpower. That superpower to, like I said, overanalyze, but you're using it in an over analytical, worrisome way. Okay? If we tweak that and say, it's not the anxiety that I love, but what the anxiety shows me my mind is capable of doing. If you have the ability to ruminate on a specific thought over and over and over again, doesn't that sound like hyperfocus? It sounds very much like hyperfocus. Instead of allowing that thought that is ruminating that may be detrimental, shifting that focus from pain to growth, that's your superpower. So instead of seeing it as, I love my anxiety because it's a great part of me, I love my anxiety because it allows my mind to be able to think in circles around things. I love the way that the anxiety has taught my mind to be able to see a specific thing from so many different angles and perspectives that I can do this with anything that I research, think about, or put my attention into. It is my choice on what I intentionally put my attention into. A thought can come, I can register that thought, observe that thought, and then allow that thought to go away, unless it's something that I understand needs to be focused on. Okay? This is what we're doing. This is the philosophical expansion. We are no longer just allowing the thought to take over. We are shifting the focus of that thought and finding a way to elevate it. Okay? And this is wonderfully put in. Goes into the next one, which is balance, and of course it's number 40. I love that they made it number 40, because 4 is the number of stability, and guess what? Stability and standing firm are the two words beneath balance. Okay, now I love that this came out as well, because the very first thing that I notice on this is she is holding her hands out. On either side, there is a little white dot, okay? This reminds me so much about the talk that I had yesterday, about the two polar opposites standing across from each other that create the energy between. This is no different than a light spectrum, okay? On one end of the light spectrum, you have absolute light. On the other end, you have absolute dark. Everything is a spectrum. The absolute of both, yes, does exist. As humans, can we hold the absolute of both? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on your own personal evolution. Have you been able to hold the entire bandwidth? If not, you're only holding part of one extreme to the other. This is where we come into the need for balance. If you tip too much towards one side, you create a shift in the energy, okay? Because these two can't touch. There is a spectrum between them. The absolutes are the end of each. There is no point at which it is a cutoff of light, no light, absolute darkness. No, eventually it fades out so much that absolute darkness takes over. But if you move this light, the darkness moves. It's always that way, right? So when you learn What is your absolutes? This creates balance because you know that if I move this direction, so does my other absolute. It's no longer anything different than moving your bandwidth up and down the entire spectrum. But balance is the only way you can keep yourself from going off the radar. And this leads into the third card, which is in the reverse, which in an oracle deck I always take as this is an extreme importance, okay? And I highly believe that this really is of extreme importance. It's card number 19. It is the death and rebirth card. Darkness to light. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. Okay? Card number 19 reduces to 1 or 10, which is an amplified one. Or you can separate the two numbers and see the 1 as a blessing of an ending. So the 9 in numerology doesn't just say it's the end of a cycle. This is not just an end of a cycle, people. This is the time where you take your rebirth and turn it into the torch. That torch is what is there to light the light of others. Okay? It's not, I don't want to go on a rant. I was about to go on a rant. Okay? It is not about what you do. It is the intention first and foremost. It does not matter if you give your life. If you do it without love in your heart, it is for nothing. So when we reach the end of a cycle, pay it forward. You have a sparkly diamond around your fire. Once you've forged yourself to that diamond, you illuminate without even trying. When you maintain your own bandwidth, your own frequency, and you tune into what is between your absolutes and never step outside of those absolutes, and you stay true to your authentic self, you become a prism. Think about that. If you were to shine the brightest and most brilliant light into a diamond, you'd create a prism. Sparkly everywhere. You don't even have to do anything. You're just being yourself, staying within your two absolutes. So the number 9 isn't just the end of a cycle. It's the end of a cycle and the beginning of you shining so brightly that others feel the same. They themselves unknowingly feel the energy that you are putting out, and something clicks in them. Just because you can't feel the energy doesn't mean it doesn't soak into your sensors. Again, thoughts are energy. Those thought forms come from somewhere. So, the death and rebirth is absolutely perfect for this time of year. We are going into the darkest day of the year, the death of the end of a cycle. Then, the very next day, the light starts to return, one day at a time, little more, little more, little more. Think, This is necessary. Think of how much of a shock it would be to your system to wake up with absolutely no trying anything, to wake up tomorrow and every single thing you've ever dreamt is a reality. Scary, not scary, doesn't matter. Every single thing you've ever dreamt, and it's all in your room. What would happen? You'd probably freak the fuck out. Which is exactly why we don't go from absolute darkness to what? Well, first off, you can't see anything. You go from dark to light. Think about in the morning, like when it's still dark outside and you haven't had the light on all night. You've been sleeping and you turn the light on and you're like, ah! I don't know about you guys. I've been trained to do the common courtesy of watch your eyes. I'm turning on the light. It has to be a slow lightning. Lightning. That would be very interesting to see. Slow lightning cracking across the sky. Would love to see that. A flash. A slow leak. A slow dawning. A slow realization allows the mind to slowly expand. You've been living your life under the assumption of limitation. We all have. That's what we've been taught our entire lives. Yeah, for centuries. So obviously, waking up to the realization one day that everything you've been taught is programming and training to keep you limited, it freaks you out. And then you got to slowly wade through all of the things you thought were real your entire life. The funniest one for me was the fear, by the way. I had never even noticed how fearless I was in so many different situations. Things that could have literally got me ego slapped very easily. But I had this thought that I was scared of everything and that everybody was gonna hurt me. But I didn't live my life that way. I have done things in my life that people are like, wow, you weren't scared to do that? Well, as a matter of fact, no, I wasn't. Like, oh, there's so many of them. Like, I tell stories and people are like, what? Nah. Yeah, that's my life. You weren't scared to do that? Well, I guess not. But I lived my entire life thinking I was a scaredy cat and that I was afraid of everything. When that light bulb came on, I laughed at myself. I was like, how can you have such a distorted view of self? To have a complete belief about self that does not show in your actual physical reality. The way you move through the world, the way you speak. So this is the Divine Mother hugging you. I mean, just, hey, you got this. You're slowly but surely watching the shadows fade. And stepping into that glorious new dawn. Speaking of, the sky this morning was unbelievable. And it was actually quite funny the way that it happened too, because I stepped out, I looked up, I'm like, oh, another cloudy day. It's probably not going to have a very good sunrise. I go down, get my coffee, look up, and I'm like, oh, wow. It was stunning. The sky was red with beautiful gray clouds, like just strewn across it. I was like, oh wow, way to show me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Never doubt. You want beauty, beauty abounds. 8 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. Change is coming, just exactly like I said. And I've talked about this before, how it's, it's so bright, how it looks like the light casting shadow is also removing shadow. So, and this is that dragon that I absolutely love. It's beautiful. Beautiful dragon. Okay, 4 coins. Okay. I love the 4 of coins in this deck because the gentleman who is on the 4 of coins, it isn't, I would say, probably elfin. He looks so smug sitting on his 4 coins. And not necessarily a bad way, but like, I'm too sexy for my gold. Okay, what else would you like the collective to know? It jumped out of there. I guess you popped out. 4 coins. I'm gonna show you his face. This is an energy that like knows itself. Yes, this energy knows itself in a very, very, very good way. Hello and welcome to your energy. Look at it. Look at it. Well, yeah, I know I'm sexy. But 4 of coins is in the reverse, which is actually a very good thing in this particular energy. And I have 3 piles that just so happen to land in this particular way. There's 3, 2, and 2. 4 of coins was the only one that popped up in face, so I was able to see. So let me feel into this energy really quick. I cannot get over this energy of I'm too sexy for my, oh my, no, stop it. Now I'm hearing Justin Timberlake. I'm bringing sexy back. Oh, I do like this energy. Very upbeat, very, very humorous, very it reminds me of the humor of the divine. So I absolutely love humor, and I love to find the jokes in like everything. And this shows up quite a bit in my life because I'm able to see the jokes. So I see all of the funny things that have happened over the years. Like, I fucking get it now. That's so funny. Okay. All right. So This Four of Coins being in the reverse is the loosening of the self, and I can feel that in your energy. It's very light and bubbly, as if this feels like a breakthrough kind of energy. Like I haven't felt like this in years, kind of thing. And it's like the walls are falling down, tumbling one at a time, which is that look on his face, like, oh yeah, I know what's about to happen. I'm watching these dominoes fall one at a time. Oh, yeah, my life is great. Bring it, bring it, bring it. This is a beautiful energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we have. Wow. Okay. Come on, baby, light my fire, baby. Okay, so we have the first three cards that popped out that came together were the Page of Wands in the reverse, the Nine of Cups in the upright, and the Eight of Cups in the reverse. Okay, um, I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot because this Page of Wands in the reverse, it feels like this is a focusing of energy. It's it's no longer like. I want to say the tumbleweed on fire. That's one of my favorite ones. This Page of Wands energy is very light and but it feels like it's no longer just oh, stop it. That was funny. Pew 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 pew. Yosemite Sam. It's no longer just shooting out everywhere. It's the point. Luchna Galevia in Russian is like a geyser. Yeah, Yosemite. Okay, so it's no longer just like wildly everywhere. Okay, and this is bringing in this energy of, yeah, there's just confidence and I've talked about how the nine of oh, this is the Nine of Cups. Okay, so I've talked about how the nines. We spoke nine earlier. Okay, so the nines is not just the ending of a cycle. Okay, so this is like, it's not quite everything, but this is like, I am like so freaking happy. If anything better happens to me, man, I don't even know. Like I'll overflow and like overflow even more, and then I don't think I'll stop overflowing. So this is like, I'm super duper happy. If anything else piles on top, it's just going to overflow. So my cup is full. Any other drops, it's going to overflow. This is the energy that has come under control from this. Yeah. You're making me blush. Okay. So, um, this last card that came out is the Eight of Cups in the reverse, and I really like this for you because it's like it's no longer walking away from that feeling. It's no, this isn't walking, this isn't like cycle repeating. This is no longer walking away from that Nine of Cups energy. This is a very light, happy individual who's like, okay, I surrender. I give up. I'm not going to fight this anymore. And I'm really proud of you because I've been talking about this for a while. You can't continue to try and fight against the raging river. Mulan comes to mind. To be a man, you must be swift as the coursing river. It's not a matter of fighting the river. It's a matter of using the coursing river to propel you forward. Change isn't scary. Change is like the greatest thing in like existence. That's my opinion though. I love change. Okay, next two cards that popped out. Oh my god, you're kidding me. No fucking way. Can't make this shit up. The 10 of Cups and the 3 of Cups. You're getting it, dude. Oh, wow. Yeah. It's a 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups, and the 3 of Cups. Oh. There's a lot of cups here. Maybe that's why the fire stopped burning so fast. Temperance. That's what I'm feeling right now, is the temperance. I get it, okay? So I've been talking about these polar opposites. You've got like, that's it. Those polar opposites. It's the control that is leading to the emotional fulfillment. Dude, I am actually really like, the thought that just came to me actually reminds me of somebody that I follow, and they talk about this all the time about having self-control. And in the past, I've talked about this maybe a while back, but self-control and discipline are forms of self-love. So let's see what these last two cards are that came out. I haven't looked at them yet. I can't wait to see these. Wow. I don't know why this came to me this way, but the king of lying, or the queen, male, female, doesn't matter. The king of lying is facing the truth. He didn't realize, or she didn't realize, just how insignificant they were. They had such an inflated ego. The mask is falling off, and they are facing the truth of their reality. The illusion is gone. I feel like this energy is even the need to face self. So this King of Swords in the reverse, you could have been lying to yourself. And that's why you surrendered. Because you're like, oh fuck, this is bigger than I realized. Look at the difference in size between those two knights. Yeah. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose. There's a reason. Otherwise, don't you think that things would be way more chaotic in the cosmos if it wasn't all divinely orchestrated? Why does gravity keep things locked in? There's a reason. And that's exactly what this feels like. It's more along the lines of, so that King of Liars energy doesn't necessarily have to be an external energy. You could have been the king of lying to yourself, or the queen of lying to yourself. I know I was for fucking years. I already told you that. I thought I was living in fear. And it wasn't. So the illusion, whatever it was, is gone. It's gone. And I don't know if what order this happened in. That was the way they came out. This feels kind of backwards. Like, legit backwards. Like, as in, like, you had that moment of realization and then had to work your way backwards to understand why. That's exactly what it was. I can understand that. Yeah. It was like it was talking about like there's this flash and then the slow dawning of the realization. And that's exactly what it seemed like here. And I talked about this the other day, like the drive-by fruiting right in the back of the head, and then it suddenly led to a realization that led to a what the nah! And then eventually the illusion fades. Okay. So what else can we understand from this? That was significant. That's the 10 of coins. And it's reversed. And it landed on the floor. Hold on 1 second. Child knocked on the door. And take care of that. So this 10 of coins is in the reverse and upside down. Let me see, or in the ground. Anything else? That's the importance of material to you now. That's why it's in the reverse and on the floor. That's why the 4 of coins is in the reverse too. This is you releasing the physical limitations that you've placed on yourself. And physical barriers. You are running through them walls. 111 when I said that. Like running through them walls. You're not allowing them to go like down brick by brick. You're like, fuck this noise. Let me out of here. All right. Oh, okay. Three cards. Right. Okay. Okay. This is like yeah, okay. So again, usually always read the cards that pop face up first. Which is why I talked about that 10 of coins. The next card trying to look at this in the particular direction in which this is. The two that came in the reverse. Yeah. The two that came in the reverse. The thing that is drawing my attention the most is the difference in the sky. One is very clear, and it's called judgment, while the other is very stormy and called tower. One is a decision. One is a revelation. One is a change. Actually, they both change. They both lead to change. But it's a matter of, do you accept that change and go with that change, or do you fight that change? So the way that these landed were both in the reverse on either side of the Page of Cups. Now, Page of Cups is in the upright. Turtle energy here, by the way. There is a turtle on here. So slow and steady wins the race. Always, always, always. Patient. And I talk about the Page of Cups quite a bit. It's almost as if you've thrown away this action, the Page of Wands in the reverse, and picked up the Page of Cups, this new bubbling feeling inside of you. You're throwing away that fighting with the personal willpower and picking up the floating with the turtle. And the things that land on either side of this are both cause and effect. Your extremes, your polar opposites. But both of them led to the exact same thing. Now, the way this energy reads for me is that indecision, wasn't a problem. It wasn't. It's not even an issue. It's a part of the process. And it's not necessarily the results that matter. Think about that for a second. I'm particularly remembering the dance, the song. In our lives, it's better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Think about that. It doesn't matter whether or not it worked out. What matters is, did you gather what you needed along the way? We don't necessarily come hardwired to be able to receive that which is meant for us. Sometimes we get bumps and bruises along the way, and these bumps and bruises make it hard to sit in this energy, because this is scary. This is an unknown feeling that feels too good to be true, and so you're suspicious of it, because life has told you time and time again that anytime you feel this feeling, somebody's going to get hurt. But this is you realizing that the indecision was what allowed you to sit in this energy, so that Tower moment didn't destroy you. It only strengthened that Page of Cups energy. So remember, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't even a lesson. It was a beautiful symphonic melody to which you couldn't help but dance. Have a great day.